This crisis centers on the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20 to 30% of the world's daily oil supply flows.
Nursery rhymes and Donald Trump. Yep, that's where we are in April of 2026. Welcome back into Occupy Democrats. And remember the nursery rhyme that had these lyrics when we were a kid: when the bough breaks, the cradle will fall, and down will come baby, cradle and all. That is what the core of this breaking story is about, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes, because, Donald Trump is about to start crying, and he's going to be crying big time because of why? His favorite subject, women, because we know Donald Trump cannot stand strong women who push him to the brink, kind of like Jessica does on Fox News. This.
In a dramatic escalation, Trump has given Iran until 8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight to fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face devastating consequences.
Probably the whole point of this, which is that Donald Trump wanted to make sure that the stock market and perhaps more importantly, the bond market was doing better. You even then said, by Friday when the market closes, then maybe we'll just blow Carg Island out. So if he's just manipulating the markets to be able to buy himself the leeway to do this. And we should note as well that there are folks being investigated who made a lot of money today. So I don't know if someone got tipped off that he was about to post on Truth Social. Whatever. Right. The difference between what you think, how much gelato Nancy Pelosi has, and what Donald Trump is doing with manipulating the market to this level is ridiculous.
He said every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. Very little is off limits.
Ridiculous.
Or the non-smiling Caitlin Collins on CNN over Epstein here.
A lot of women who are survivors of Epstein's are unhappy with those redactions that came out. Some of them, entire witness interviews are totally blacked out.
I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else, something that people care about. Yeah, what did you say? Go ahead.
What would you say to the survivors who feel
you are the worst reporter. No wonder CNN has no ratings because of people like you.
This crisis centers on the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20 to 30% of the world's daily oil supply flows.
But Donald is so tough, and he's been treated so poorly, he always needs Sean Hannity to attack women for him.
Well, let's look at the New York Times and their full-time Donald Trump stalker, Maggie Haberman. Well, stalker Maggie appears to be obsessed still with all things Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah. He especially hates Maggie Haberman.
They got Pulitzer Prizes. The Pulitzer Prize is worthless as far as I'm concerned, because when you have the Maggie Habermans getting a Pulitzer Prize and she got it all wrong, I haven't spoken to her in forever. She's like my biographer, like she knows everything about me. She knows nothing about me. They talk about they have sources. They don't have sources. They're made up. They make them up in their mind. They have no sources. And they were totally wrong.
His insecurity is so transparent, even Maggie Haberman can see it.
Yet they got this woman, she pretends like she knows more about Trump. I have nothing to do. If the woman speaks to me once in a year, she's a reporter. Maggot Hagerman. Did you ever hear of it? Maggot Hagerman. Today I called her. I said, your stories are all fake. Why don't you stop it?
But in this breaking story, the White House is losing its mind right now today because Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan are about to put out a book that is likely going to be exculpatory and put Trump right in the scope. Check this breaking story out on Regime Change.
Iran's actions have sent oil prices sharply higher and created nervousness in global markets. U.S. and Israeli forces have already struck Iran's oil facilities and bridges.
Breaking news, White House racked with high anxiety over upcoming Trump book report. The Donald Trump White House is bracing for impact from a potentially devastating new book set to publish mid-June. New York Times correspondents Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, two of the most wired reporters in Washington with a proven track record of explosive Trump administration disclosures, have spent a lot of time investigating Trump's presidency, and the results are causing high anxiety in Trump world. According to Axios founder Mike Allen, Trump's vicious mid-March attack on Haberman finally revealed what he was so desperate to suppress, the announcement of the book titled
Iran remains defiant and has rejected any temporary ceasefire. Citizens are forming human chains around power plants to protect them.
Regime Change, which examines Trump's imperial presidency. Trump's rage was unhinged. In quotes, Maggot Haberman, just another sleazebag writer for the failing New York Times, insists on writing false stories about me, Trump posted on Truth Social, threatening to add Haberman to her associates to his Florida lawsuit against the Times. The timing wasn't coincidental. Allen noted that Trump's post lined up perfectly with an Oval Office interview Haberman and Swan conducted with the president in March, suggesting Trump was already aware of the book project. The White House is now in full damage control mode. Over the past few weeks, senior administration officials have been privately discussing leaks from Oval Office and Situation Room meetings to Haberman and Swan, including recent 2026 discussions signaling panic about what explosive information might be contained in the forthcoming book. The parallels to Trump's first term are unmistakable. Previous bombshell book disclosures had his inner circle pointing fingers at each other in mutual suspicion and paranoia. The publisher's deception hints at the book's scope and ambition. Regime Change takes you inside secret deliberations of a president, in quotes, who has fundamentally altered the nature of the office he holds, and with it, how the rest of the world understands American power. For a president obsessed with controlling his media narrative, the prospects of two supremely connected Times reporters publishing an in-depth examination of his presidency represents more chaos for an embattled White House.
As the deadline approaches, back-channel talks continue, but time is running out. If strikes begin, millions of Iranians could lose electricity and water.